everyone, welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve, good afternoon.
Just want to start things off today with a quick, we're not big on apologizing here for things, but when it comes to the quality of our podcast, we do apologize. Our last couple episodes kind of published without actually reviewing them first, and we realized that we were trying to use something in the software that actually makes us sound better and like cancels out echoes and things, but it actually made us sound worse after we listened back to them finally. After they've already been published, it sounds like we're like drunk and like slurring, and it's like, and it sounds really weird at a few parts. Hopefully it was all good. Maybe our listeners didn't even notice. If you didn't notice, then don't worry about it. But we noticed, and it won't happen again.
Yeah, and if you did notice, we weren't drunk. It's just that we're bad at recording ourselves.
Yeah, except for we do have an upcoming episode where we are actively drinking on the episode. That'll be published in a few weeks. But the ones we already released, we were not drunk actually.
Right, we'll have a big disclaimer for that one, like, okay, we're drunk in this scene.
Yeah, it'll be a 21 plus episode, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sign in with your Gmail to watch the video.
All right, enough apologizing. We don't give a shit about anything. Let's move on.
Right.
Today we found a very interesting post on Reddit in the Digital Nomads subreddit. And this is 10 irritating things that digital nomads do or don't do.
Well, there's only 10.
There's only 10. Yeah, that's it. And so, some of these are pretty hot takes. Like, I don't know if a lot of these really apply to us or any digital nomad, really, but it's one of the top posts. I think people are reacting a lot to it. I think this, somewhat guy was just mad and wrote this post, but we're gonna talk about it and see if any of these irritating things apply to us. And just kind of just talk through the list.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out I do the majority of these things somehow, Like, it's like finding out, it's like the Reddit post, like, am I the asshole? Like, we're finding out right now that we're the assholes.
Yes. Let's find out if we are. Yeah. Well, at the end of after we say each one, maybe we'll say if it's something that we if we do or not, and we'll see who does the most.
Yeah, okay, we'll keep a tally, but let's just be honest about it, Steve. If you've ever done it once, that counts. Like,
Yeah, 100%, hundred
have a little
percent.
integrity here with irritating things.
Okay, so the person who wrote this is a top 1% contributor on Reddit. Their name is Biss the Siamese Cat. So the first irritating thing that digital nomads do is saying I'm poor. The guy, the author, what do they call it on Reddit? The OP.
The OP, the original
Yeah.
poster.
Yes, the OP says, no, you're not poor. You're almost certainly in the global top 10%, maybe top 1%, which is actually a pretty fair point. According to nomads.com stats, the average digital nomad income is $124,000 a year, which would put most people in a very high percentile of world income. But saying I'm poor,
Yes.
Jack, is that something that you walk around saying all the time?
To be honest, I don't think I've ever said I'm poor. Maybe when I was a waiter or a DJ in college, I referenced myself as poor, but I try to have a little bit of awareness. Especially, it's like, if you're visiting them and, you're in their country, like, you're there for fun. Like, obviously, you can afford what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I certainly don't walk around saying I'm poor. I think living the digital nomad's lifestyle is, there are some people who do like the budget backpacking type of thing. That's not really my style personally. I like to live in nice places with good internet so I can work remotely comfortably. Yeah, I haven't said I'm poor since I've been a digital nomad. Like you said, when you were a waiter, a DJ, yeah, when I first got out of college and I was trying to live in Denver with my expensive rent, I might have said I was poor. Like, I remember not hanging out with my friends sometimes doing expensive activities because I wasn't making a lot of money and I was pretty poor. I don't feel that same way today. And I definitely don't walk around saying I'm poor, especially when I'm in low income countries. I was living in Africa. Right now I'm in Guatemala. I'm not going to walk around talking about how poor I am when I know that compared to a lot of the locals in these places, I'm definitely not poor.
Yeah, like you can't walk up to the local and you're haggling them over 50 cents and saying, "Hey, like I can't afford I can afford it when it's
Yeah.
$2.50, but not when it's $3."
Yeah, exactly. Which I have found myself doing anyway. Like, I think I've told you, like, I was buying sunglasses on the beach in Mexico and like I start haggling just because I don't know, just naturally sometimes I get into these negotiation situations. And then I realize, like,
Yeah.
the conversion, like I'm haggling between like seven and I'm trying to get him down to like $5. And then I'm like, wait, $2, like the $2 I'm haggling this guy on, like he probably needs way more than I do. Like I don't really give a shit about $2. Like, what am I doing? Then I'm just like, all right, you know what? $7 is fine.
Or the most hilarious part of that situation is when you finally do haggle them down $2 and then you pull out your wallet and you need change.
Yes, dude, that happens to me all the time. And then they give me the change, like the change that they could have just kept if I didn't haggle them. It's the best.
That is hilarious. Okay, and like that also, like when the change are like helping you count it out because it looks like Monopoly money and you're
Yeah.
not quite sure.
Yeah, exactly. I will say that here's a little nomad hack for everyone though. If you ever have to use a taxi, and not Uber, I highly recommend having exact change because every taxi driver in the world will tell you they don't have change. If you try to ask for change, like I swear 100% of the time, they're like, no, I don't have change. So sometimes I'll just end up giving them the full amount, or like I'll just make them drive into an ATM.
Which
Just gives
both
them
suck.
more work. Yeah, which both suck. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, that happens
so,
to me all the time.
so I guess we'll both say we're no. Like, yeah, we have said I'm poor, but not as digital nomads. So I think we're both a no on this one. And yeah, I don't know other nomads who walk around saying they're poor either. But
Now, I want to get real here for a second. And, Steve, you've told me that I need to cut this out of my vocabulary. I remember this. And so I'm poor reminds me also of, I feel like a lot of people in the US, myself included, say I'm starving. Okay. And it's like one of those things
yeah,
where you're not actually starving, like you had a Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme for breakfast, like you're fine. Like
yeah,
you really are like you're only like 1,000 out of 4,000 calories deep of what you're gonna eat today. Like you're okay, but a lot of people say I'm starving, and that's something I'm trying to like get out of my vocabulary and say like, oh, I'm hungry, or you know,
dude. Yep, 100%. That's funny you say that. We haven't even talked about this yet, but I had the same thought in Africa. Like, I don't say I'm starving. I don't even really say I'm hungry anymore because, yeah, in Africa, I saw people who really were starving. Like,
yeah,
it's physically affecting them. And like you said, yeah, I had like a huge burger for lunch, and then at dinner time I'm like, oh, I'm starving, I'm so hungry. But it's like that's really not true compared to some of the people around me. So yeah, I'm trying to cut that out as well.
yeah, we're kind of taking the hyperbole a little far there. And I
Yeah.
think that's just like Western cult. I don't know where that came from, but people say I'm starving quite a bit. And I think that's one thing that would be good to keep in mind if you're a digital nomad out there.
Yep, 100%. It's just like the new like digital nomad version of like not saying the R word or saying something is gay and other stuff that people say in America that's pretty commonplace these days. Actually, with the rise of Twitter becoming X and political situation, I feel like the R word and like the G word are really making a strong comeback. I'm still staying out of it though,
Mm.
because yeah, I'm just I don't I don't know. It's not really my style.
Yeah, I mean, we put so much work into not saying those words for the past 8 years. Like, do I really want to kind of like, undo all that hard work? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt. Like I worked so hard to get it out of my vocab. It's not coming in. It's not coming back in yet. So,
Yeah.
all right, we beat that one to death. Jack, you want to read the second irritating thing that nomads do?
Yes. Okay. According to what was her name? Simba?
Their name was Biss the Siamese cat.
Siamese. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So number two is treating the lifestyle as a right. I'm assuming the lifestyle being the digital nomad lifestyle. It isn't. You gotta pay for shit. I mean, I don't think this is a problem I have, honestly. I'm well aware I'm paying for it, to be honest.
Yeah, and I've never seen the lifestyle as a right. Like I've also worked really hard to get remote jobs, keep remote jobs, work hard to be able to do this lifestyle and not be poor, as we said. Yeah, I don't know what he's even talking about. What do you mean you got to pay for shit? Like, yeah, of course I pay for everything when I'm a nomad. Like what? I don't think I have any right to do anything. I'm not really sure what they mean by that.
Yeah, this one's a little weird. Maybe if you like don't have a job or you're getting a little carried away in Bali with some of the ceremonies, like I could see this maybe being you, but I think yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I remember when we started, it was difficult to secure that remote job in the beginning. And you do need to be, especially if you're also looking for a specific remote job. I mean, Steve, you can speak to this a lot more than I can, where it's a lot of competition not only for a
Yeah.
remote job, but a job that would be okay with you being a little location independent. So when you are able to lock that down and get your 123K a year according to digital nomad income, I think you should be super grateful.
Yeah, I super am. I realize that this lifestyle is something that a lot of people would like to do. A lot of people aren't able to do. So yeah, I've always felt very privileged doing this. I don't feel like this is my right, and yeah, I still don't really know what the gotta pay for shit thing means. I don't think I'm special because I'm a nomad. I don't think like, oh, I go to a restaurant and I'm a digital nomad, so they should let me eat here for free or something. I've never felt that way. So yeah, this one's definitely a no for me.
Okay, cool. So we're both 0 for 2. This is good. Okay.
Pretty good so far. Okay, number three is forgetting that you are a guest. If locals criticize you as a force for gentrification, listen to them. They might not be correct, but their opinions matter much more than yours do as a guest.
All right, so I got a side thing here. Okay, first of all, this Simba lady she is coming off super hot. Like I guarantee you she made this Reddit post and she was angry. Like this she
Yes. Oh
busted
yeah. Oh,
these 10 out like while she's taking a bio break like just mad at her digital nomad boyfriend or something, you know? Like there is personal there's a personal
yes.
twist to this list here.
Oh yeah, the entire tone of this, the way it was written, you can tell it came from a place of anger for sure. Which is why it's so funny to react to because it's just like kind of chill out a little bit. Like a lot of this stuff is not even real, but that's why we're that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, but we got to break this one down because there's a lot to unpack in this. Now, their grammar's a little weird on this, but we won't get into
Yeah.
that. But if a force for gentrification, I don't really know what that means. I think gentrification is
Okay,
one of the most misunderstood words ever.
so I'll tell you what they're kind of referencing here. And I kind of talked about this on our last Cape Town episode, right? A lot of the locals are complaining about digital nomads driving up the prices, of housing in the city. I know that Mexico City, which is funny because that's the next place I'm going to go live for a couple months. I know the locals there are all, have also been known to get upset, and a few other locations around the world. And they're blaming digital nomads basically for pricing out a lot of the locals. There's Airbnbs that we're willing to pay a lot more money for than the locals. And so you know, I guess they're saying that we're causing a housing crisis, or they're calling it like modern colonization or like gentrification in some of these places. Again, they might not be correct, like this person says, but their opinions do matter. So that's why when I'm going to be in Mexico City, I'm not going to walk around being like, I'm a nomad, I have a ton of money, and I'm not going to be rubbing it in everyone's faces, especially because I know that things are a little tense there with nomads. So I am going to be careful. And yeah, if people want to criticize me for that, yeah, I will listen to them, and I will definitely try to be sympathetic as much as I can, even though I am there and I'm driving money into their economy and trying to help them out that way. If I am pricing people out of their apartments, then I will feel bad about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult situation. I think there's the globalization of the world. So more and more people are moving around, even if you're not like a digital nomad posting on Instagram. Like, Mexico City is a global city, right? So I think people coming in and out, like, will probably raise the rents either way. It's the whole digital nomad raising rents thing is hard for me to believe. I would love to know how many actual digital nomads as a percentage of the global population is it, right? Are we talking like millions of people are digital nomads? Tens of millions? Less than a million? It just feels like a drop in the bucket, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it is a hard thing to track, right? Like there's no official way to track digital nomads. In fact, we're harder to track than normal citizens because like normal citizens, are it's on their taxes, where they live and stuff like that, but we don't really do that. But you're right, Jack. I mean, especially with the rise of remote work, like this isn't going to go away. If people can live wherever they want and they want to move to global cities like Mexico City and they have the money, then yeah, that's rents are going to keep going. If you live in a cool place, your rent is never going to be low. That's just
Yeah.
fine. I remember Tahoe complaining about that, which Tahoe does have a bit of a housing crisis. Like they have more Airbnbs there than just like normal housing. And I know people are
Mm.
mad about, but I just remember the locals being so mad at tourists there. And it's just like, first of all, this town wouldn't exist without tourism. Most of you wouldn't have jobs. If tourists weren't going there and spending money, like there'd be no economy here. So it's just kind of like, if you live in a cool place, it's going to be expensive, unfortunately. And I don't know what you want to say, and it's a give and take, right? Because we're also putting money into the economy. We're creating jobs by going there. So yeah, it's obviously a complicated thing that like I'm definitely not smart enough to talk about or have an opinion on, but these are just some of my thoughts.
Yeah, so I'm totally with you. So what my official response to number 3 is overreaction. Okay, we are not the asshole. She's overreacting. Simba, you got to chill out. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm a no on this one. They said forgetting that you are a guest and not listening to locals if they criticize you. Yes, I know I'm a guest, so I'm going to be super respectful. I don't want to be the nomad that they get pissed off at. Like I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to spend my money locally and try to help out as much as I can, give money to homeless people, like whatever. I'm not going to be a fucking asshole when I'm there. So I think this one's still a no for both of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, number 4. Travel as competition. Just shut up. Your list of every country you've been to, it gets tedious, I guess is what they're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now this one.
I'm not sure about that word, Steve.
Yeah, this person's not. I don't think they're a published author. Like, I don't think they've won the Peace Prize for like writing poetry. This person doesn't seem great with words, but we get what they're trying to say. So I've come across these people. I've been on like some tours in some different nomad hub type of cities, and people won't shut up about all the places they've been, and like they do try to act like they're like the coolest traveler and they've been to the most places. And I do get that from some nomads, like they try to make it a competition, and
Hmm.
it is really annoying. If it's like coming up in normal conversation, you're talking about places you've been, like sure, but don't just like word vomit onto people and be like, yeah, I went to Bali and then I went to Japan and blah blah blah. Like Jack, we learned this years ago after studying abroad in Prague, and we've maybe referenced it a little bit on this podcast, but like no one gives a fuck about what we've done or where we've been. Like maybe my mom cares, but like that's about the top of the list. Like no one gives a shit. They don't want to hear it. So I've learned this. So this
Yeah.
one's also going to be a no for me. Like I don't do that anymore. Like if it naturally comes up and it adds to the conversation, I'll talk about it, but I'm not out here trying to brag about my traveling.
No, it's funny you bring it up, right? Your mom's the only one that cares. I mean, I echo that. It's so true that my mom cares. My dad doesn't even care. Like that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing,
I was gonna say
like my mom is
my
loving
dad
it.
doesn't
My dad's
care.
like, whatever.
Yeah, my
He's my
siblings
dad.
probably like they don't. Yeah, My siblings don't give a shit either. Like I have 6 siblings or whatever. Like, they don't really care. Like I do force it on them. Like I'll just update them every month and let them know where I'm at. But other than that, like, they don't need to know that much more.
Now, I'm gonna take these people's sides for a moment just to make it interesting, right? So I do think I mean, obviously we're doing this because we think it's cool. We think it's
Yeah.
cool going to all these countries. We think it's great seeing the different cultures, eating different food. And so, a lot of the reasons why I leave some of my travels open ended is because I do want to talk to people about where they've been, where they're going, and their suggestions. Because I think a lot of that word of mouth is super useful, and you find out about going to certain places that you never really thought of. And so I think that part of it is awesome. And and I think that's a little bit different than just going around and saying, oh wow, oh, so you went to Japan. Well, I went to every single city in Japan. I had every single type of sushi in Japan. There's a little bit of like a one-upper type of situation, and I see
Yeah.
that. But if you're connecting with someone about, hey, I'm going to go to Asia, and what are your recommendations or something like that, I think that's great. But totally, I mean,
Totally.
yeah. So there's a difference. There's a difference, and I think also to this lady's, to kind of, to kind of poke at her a little bit. Maybe she wasn't in the right state of mind for this conversation. Maybe she didn't want to hear it at that time. And I'm kind of anti this chick. Am I coming off too? I hope she's not a listener. Like, she probably isn't. I mean, if she made this list, she's not listening to our podcast.
So I agree with that, Jack. I love talking to fellow travelers. But I think the difference, and I think you pointed it out, is whether or not you were asked. Like if I ask people about stuff, I would love to hear, and if people ask me about a certain country or place, then yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. I think it's just when it's unprompted and you're just like just telling people shit that they really don't care about. Yeah, I think that's the difference, is if it's asked, if you're asked to talk about it or not. So
Yeah, yeah,
all right.
yeah.
All right. I think so. That's a no for both of us. Like, we don't do that. I know some nomads might, but for us personally, I think we're still 0 for 4 on this list. So that's good. Okay. Now, this one we talked about a couple episodes ago when we were talking about Duolingo and learning different languages when we travel. So, number 5, refusal to learn local language. This one is particularly depressing.
This is a little too much, right? She needs to go to some far off country where they only speak the language there, and you're going to be there for 2 weeks, and I want to see her learn the local language.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go to China and learn Mandarin for the two. Yeah, go to China, learn Mandarin for the 2 weeks that you're there. I would love to see you try. Also, how is it depressing? Well, like, there are fucking millions of languages in the world. You can't expect people to learn all of them. I don't think that's depressing that we don't know all these different languages. And like we said, we try to make an effort. I've been learning Spanish, so I don't sound like an idiot in these places. But like we've said before, we try to learn like hello and thank you, and try to be as respectful as possible to the local language, right?
And another thing is that sometimes these locals actually want to speak English. Sometimes they are down to try out their English, and they would actually prefer you to just speak some English to them. So, hey, like, I will oblige.
Yeah, I know that's a big thing in Japan. Like they love trying to speak English in certain places and talking to English speakers and learning from us. So yeah, I don't think this is depressing. I don't know why. I don't know where that word comes from here, but
Yeah, I had a funny moment. I was eating some dinner with a friend, and she was trying to order her meal, and she was ordering it in English, right? And she was not a native English speaker, so she's butchering the hell out of it. And the waitress is also Spanish speaking, and she's talking back to the lady in English, trying to understand her order. And I just had to go, hey guys, you both speak Spanish, like feel free to kind of get it out. Like it's okay. Like you guys both clearly you switch languages and get this over with pretty quick. So
yeah.
really language, my point of that story is language is a tool. Okay. So just whatever works best for the job. No need to overthink it. No need to have some idealistic view of if you're traveling to a new country, you better be fluent before you go. I think that's a little bit much.
Yeah, so this one, it's tough for me to say. Maybe I'm a half on like every country I go to. Yeah, I don't try like I didn't try to learn Arabic when I'm an Arabic I don't really I guess, but the word refusal, like I don't think I refuse to learn it, but I'm certainly open to it if I have to. And like I said, I'm learning Spanish for Spanish speaking countries, so sometimes, yeah, I don't try, especially, I said like in Norway, everyone speaks English. So I'm not going to try to learn Norwegian for the month that I'm there. It's just not necessary. I just don't
Yeah.
like the word refusal. I didn't refuse to learn it, but yeah, I didn't really try either. So fine, I'll give myself 1 point, maybe a half point for this one. Like, yeah, sometimes I don't try to learn. But what do you
Yeah,
think, Jack?
me too. And but I would also say the refusal comes from like my like throat and my vocal cords are unable to make some of these sounds that they make. I just feel like I'm not talented enough. I don't have whatever they got, like especially when we're talking French and Arabic. Like I
Mm.
just I just don't have those pipes, you know? I grew up listening to Michael Bublé, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just not built like that.
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of gotta understand our point of view too.
All right, Jack, you want to hit us with number six? You keep getting like the hard ones. This one, just read it word for word, and we'll try to dissect it after.
You sound like my English teacher. Oh, Jack, you got another tough passage. I'm over here in front of the entire class, got to read this terrible.
Dude, that was the worst. That was the worst when like, okay, you're taking turns in class, like reading the things, and I would like count down to like the paragraph that I would have to see like do. They'd go by and I'd be like, damn it. Of course I get like the longest paragraph. Like this one's like fucking 8 sentences with big words. And I would always dread that.
Dude, yeah, that was always terrible. I would also try to kind of like sneakily know which one I was gonna do, but I
Yeah.
always remember the teacher would like sometimes she would do like snake case when like
Mm.
going through the rows, and then sometimes she wouldn't do snake case. I feel like she would try to get us, catch us sleeping, and maybe that's just all English teachers. I feel like they had a little bite to them, or maybe that was just me
Yeah.
growing up, but they always try to sneakily.
Do you know about popcorning? Like the whoever read it last would okay, popcorn Jack. So that one was just completely random. You got to be ready at any moment.
Yeah, and you got some guy he's sleeping on his backpack or something,
Yeah.
and you just ring it on him. All right, here we go. Popcorn Jack. Acting as a force for cultural homogenization. Lisbon really does not need yet another yoga studio. Roma Norte does not need yet another eatery. Shut up and enjoy some tacos. Ask a local to take you fishing or teach you how to grow orchids.
Okay. So I actually saw one of the comments responded to this on Reddit, the part where they say ask a local to take you fishing or teach you how to grow orchids. And someone was like, "What the hell? Like who the fuck does this? That is insane."
You better be there for a while. I'm sure orchids don't grow overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like you better 6 month or at least. Like
So, Jack, what's your instant response to this? And maybe I'll give mine after.
I think it's stupid because this is the thing. Oh, I think I just said stupid on stream, but this is my problem, right? These last five have been about essentially we don't assimilate to the culture. And now this one
Mm.
is about basically like, oh, we're assimilating, but like you shouldn't. You need to like be yourself, be more authentic, like don't go to like the cliche places or something. So I felt like it's a little bit of a weird. She's changing her tune.
So, for our listeners at home, like me, who weren't exactly sure what cultural homogenization means, it is the process by which cultures become more similar to one another. So basically, like spreading your culture into other cultures. So if you're going into that's what they mean. Lisbon doesn't need another yoga studio. So don't come in and try to make some Americanized business or try to Americanize some of the cultures that you're going to. I don't or even open a business at all is maybe what they're saying. Ask a
Yeah.
local to take you fishing. So I don't know. I definitely don't try to force my culture on other people when I go to places. I try to assimilate and try to look as local as I possibly can. Like, I wear jeans in Colombia, even though it's 90 degrees outside, but all the locals are wearing jeans. I'll do that as well to fit in. I'm definitely not trying to make everyone wear shorts when I go to Colombia if they don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. And to be honest, like, in America, am I angry if a Chipotle opens up by me? Like, am I mad at Mexico? Like, no, I'm pretty happy because I love Chipotle. So it's just like in America, like all of our businesses are this. Like people from other countries coming in showing us their cuisine or something. It's like we come from that.
Chipotle is definitely not an American-owned company at all. Like it's definitely, but yeah, this one's funny. I mean, I'll give myself another half point because I definitely don't force my culture onto people, but I'm not going to ask a local to take me fishing or grow orchids. Maybe take me fish. Like that sounds fun. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ask a local to take me fishing, but I'm not opposed.
Yeah, I mean, I'll totally go to that. But to be honest, if there is like a fashionable, trendy cafe, like I'm going. Like I don't care. I'm going. It's built for me, right?
Yeah, if someone else before me already did the homogenization, like you can't say that I can't enjoy that homogenization if it's there.
Right, like we're the target audience for that, right? Like,
Exactly. So maybe that's what they're mad about, but whatever.
okay.
Okay, we got number 7.
Yep. Okay. Steve, Popcorn
This
Steve.
one says Popcorn Steve. This one is cliquishness. If that is that a word? Cliquishness. So being clicky, they say make some local friends. This isn't high school. Get to know someone older than 30.
Wow, that
Spend some
actually I'm
time with someone.
offended.
Yeah. Spend some time with someone who doesn't share a language with you. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, have a conversation with someone who doesn't speak the same language as you. That'll go really well. I'm sure you'll get really far in that conversation if you're speaking two different languages. Good idea.
Dude, I think my hot take is this chick has never left her home state. I'm gonna say she has never left the country.
That's a good take.
Yeah, no, but so I think we're kind of laughing towards the end there, Steve. I think it's basically impossible to talk to someone if you can't communicate with them. I think while I would love to talk with everyone, if you can't speak my language or I can't speak your language and we don't have translation tools available, I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, that's how it
Yeah, so
goes.
this one's kind of all over the place. Like she had me in the first half, not gonna lie. Like I was, it made sense, but then when she gets to the point where it's like talk to someone who doesn't share a language as you, like okay, I'm gonna disagree with that. But get to know someone older than 30. I do that all the time. Get to know someone older than 30. I do this all the time. Like here in Guatemala, there's a lot of retired people. Yeah, they're not really local. Well, they are. They're expats. They are local. They live here permanently. But I've been hanging out with some people well over the older than 30. Like I was talking to a guy at the bar the other day who's 78 years old. He was awesome. So anyway, cliquishness, make local friends. Jack, I think we both do
Damn, I
that,
feel yeah.
right? I think we both make local friends when we travel. Like I definitely obviously I'm with my girlfriend, like we spend a lot of time together doing our own thing, but yeah, we're definitely open to branching out, talking to people, when we go to bars, restaurants, we might participate in the nomad meetups. Well, I guess those aren't locals, but yes, I do talk to locals. I like talking to locals because you can learn from them, get kind of their insights, get the lay of the land. Yeah, this one's funny.
It's hilarious they say cliquishness because I'm the exact opposite. Like I'm desperate as fuck. Like I am trying to meet some friends. I'm trying to make. I want to meet some people. I'm down. Like so, I think that's fun. I feel like I'm more outgoing when I travel than when I'm not. And I'm 33, so I'm definitely hanging out with people older than 30.
Yeah, to me, that's one of the beauties of travel is talking to people from around the world who don't share your culture, who have, other things that you can learn about. You can learn from them. Like that's one of my favorite things about traveling. So I try to not be cliquish, as they say. Like I do my best to talk to other people. So yeah, I agree with most of this. Like I do all these things. I definitely don't spend time with someone who doesn't share a language with me. If I do, I use Google Translate and we communicate that way. But yeah, this one's gonna be a no for me. What do you say, Jack?
Yeah, and a strong no for me as well. And I would just like to add a little bit that I think the places that I've stayed the most, the longest period of times, did have a lot to do with the people I met there. I would, yeah, and so yeah, I'm gonna give this one a hell no.
All right. We got another pretty funny one coming. You keep getting the weirdest ones, Jack, to read. But let's hear this one because this one sounds fucking hilarious.
Like, I feel like people who are gonna watch this episode think I don't know how to read, but really, it's just really hard to read
Dude,
these
this person just
sentences.
tries to throw in random big words that like don't make any sense in the context. I feel like they're kind of trying to sound smart, but like it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, do your best with this one, man.
All right, the hard sell period. I get that you're trying to make a living advanced selling timeshares at a vegan digital nomad crypto commune. Wow, sounds lit. Scheduled for completion in 2032. When I said I'm not interested, it meant I'm not interested. Switch off the sales mode or fuck off. Wow.
What? Okay, what the fuck? What nomads are going around? I don't know if this person's coming from the perspective as like a local who lives in a city or a fellow nomad. I don't know. We'll assume that they're a local who lives in a city. I don't know what nomads are going around
Okay.
trying to sell timeshares or vegan crypto communes to people. I don't know what the fuck this is talking about.
Yeah, this is weird. First of all, I quit being vegan before I became a digital nomad, so I don't really resonate with that part. Second of all, communes are actually called hostels, okay? They're called hostels, and I'm not down for that. Okay, I'm an Airbnb guy, and I think if you just tell someone who's selling you something that you're not interested, they should walk away.
Yeah, what I guess, we've made fun of like that digital bro mad guy who sells courses, and maybe there are some nomads who, they're entrepreneurs, they make a living selling things. I don't know. I've never heard of that. I've never encountered that. Like, we have our own jobs. We don't need to be selling to people when we travel. Like that's just an interesting take. I've never thought about traveling around the world trying to sell shit.
Now, there is something though that we can relate to with this, okay? It's like this does get under my skin a little bit, which is when I go to like some sort of market and like I see expats alongside local people like selling trinkets and like little like clothes and stuff, when it's like, wow, you're a white girl from Michigan, okay, and we are in Peru right now. Like, maybe you should let the locals do that part and you make your money externally. In that sort of sense, I see a little bit of leeway there, what they're trying to say.
Okay, yeah, I feel that. I was on Isla Mujeres the other day and I did see a white girl from Canada. She like owned the boutique though, it looked like. It was like a store. And she was
Okay.
selling clothes and she
Okay.
owned it. But it did catch me off guard when I walked in. I was like, "Whoa, you're not Mexican." But it was fine. Okay, I got to flip this around real quick. So, in my
Okay.
experience, like we're not the ones hard selling. Like most of the places I go, if the locals are hard selling to me, like hardcore, like Morocco, they fucking follow me down the street. They are yelling at me, trying to get me, yeah, grabbing me and shit. Like, if anything, like I should tell other people to turn off the sales mode and fuck off. Like, I don't know. In my experience as a digital nomad, like I'm usually the one getting hard sold to. I mean, the hardest sales I've ever encountered in my life. So, yeah, if anything, this is flipped around. Like the locals need to fuck off. Yeah, this one's wild.
Yeah, they take always be closing to another level up there in Morocco.
Yeah, yes, they do.
They're closing without you saying yes.
Yeah, I know. There's the example, and I know you encountered this personally, Jack. When they just start putting a tattoo on your arm, like if you're standing there, they just start giving you a tattoo, and they're like, "All right, give me money." It's like, wait, I didn't even ask for this.
Yeah, I was like,
Like,
wait.
I feel like at what point is that robbery? Like, I feel like that's a crime. Like, you're just asking, you're just trying to get someone to give you money for something you didn't purchase. Like,
How about you pay for the canvas? I just gave you a free ride.
gave you free practice.
Yeah, that's bad. I think the worst one for me was in Morocco when I got I mean, I'm an idiot for doing this, but I basically go in for a haircut and I go, "How much is the haircut?" They start cutting my hair like, "Oh, you pay whatever you want at the end. Just pay whatever you want." And then we get done and I give them whatever I wanted and that wasn't enough, That's usually how it goes.
Always agree on the price up front. Okay, well, this one's a fuck no for me. I've never tried to sell timeshares or crypto vegan communes. So that one's a hell no for me. Jack, I assume you're also a hell no.
I mean, I sell crypto, but like that actually wasn't in the
Yeah. But when you're in Guatemala, you're not trying to sell crypto to the locals, I hope.
That's right.
Okay. We are at number 9, man. We are coming around the home stretch here. This one is refusing to admit if you don't like the lifestyle. I've encountered a lot of people who clearly dislike travel, but really want to be recognized as intrepid travelers. It's not a moral failing if you dislike travel. There are sustainability issues to a modern nomadic lifestyle, and it's a real shame to engage in it if you don't enjoy it. Wow.
Okay. I mean, this one's kind of deep.
Do you want me to go first, or you got takes?
If you can start with your takes.
I just want to say that I would not be doing this. This is me personally. I can't speak for everyone else. I would not be doing this lifestyle if I didn't like it. I would not be doing this for 5 years. And I have read a lot of things on Reddit and things that are like, I tried nomading for a few months. I tried it for a year and I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. I needed something more stable. Like it didn't work out. Yeah, if I felt that way, I would have stopped living this lifestyle years ago. I wouldn't continue doing it for 5 years to, make myself look cool or whatever this person's trying to say. Like to be recognized as a cool traveler, that's not worth it for me for 5 years. So I do this because I love it. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, and I hope the people that are doing it and they don't love it can kind of refer to earlier part of the episode where really only your mom cares. And if you stop, your mom's still going to love you. She might even love you a little bit more because you'll be around more often.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing this for other people, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And maybe that is those annoying people that we were talking about earlier that love to just talk about it when no one actually gives a shit. Yeah, those people might be doing it for other people, which to me is the wrong reason. Like when I travel, like I do this for myself, for my own memories, and for my mom to hear about it. But yeah,
and for the pod,
I guess we have the pod now, but we hope that this helps people that want to listen and try to learn things. We're not, again, just here. We try to be like informative on here and funny. We're not just like talking about how sick our lives are. So
they are sick though. But like this is interesting because a lot of people do things they don't want to do, or they get caught up in doing things. The only thing I will say on this from personal experiences, it's not always, roses, sunshine, great Instagram pics, balcony videos. There are times where it sucks.
Yeah.
But there's also times where normal life sucks. Yeah. And you just gotta weigh the pros and cons. If you can handle the cons of being a digital nomad and the pros outweigh them for you, that's great. If you need a little bit of a break because you just went to Machu Picchu and you didn't take a single picture because you are over it, then maybe you should take a break. And maybe, you need to kind of realize that, okay, I'm not appreciating it as much as I used to. So I just need to wait a little bit and then get back on the horse or the plane, I guess you could say. So that's what I would say. It's really a gray zone, and you got to know what's good about yourself. I mean, and things can change, and that's okay.
Dude, I totally agree with what you're saying, Jack, about, there are struggles. I'm in Africa sometimes, and my power goes out. Right. Something like that happens and it's a minor inconvenience. I miss my train stop. Something stupid happens and I'm like, oh man, maybe traveling is difficult. But then I talk to my friends back home, like a friend who owns a house and he's like, oh, I'm dreading this weekend. I have to build a fence for my house. Oh, I gotta paint these walls. Oh, like I'm having a kid and my kid did this and like, oh, this thing so I'm like, okay, wait, actually normal life, all like you said, normal life sucks too. Like we just have different struggles. Like people can't relate to their power going out, like I might encounter in Africa, but I can't relate to painting a fence or whatever. But yeah, there's struggles in every type of lifestyle. But it's nothing that I hate so much that I want to stop traveling. The good certainly outweighs the bad for me.
Yeah, I think this is a personal problem that only you can solve. You gotta eventually, to be happy in life, do the things you want to do, and you have to have the courage to be able to do that. So if you're too tied to your identity as being a digital nomad and you feel like you have to keep going to fulfill that identity, there's something wrong, and you need to have more self-esteem.
Dude, this person must just be encountering the worst people in the world. Like, how they came up with this list? Like, again, we've done like none of these. Like, who the hell is she talking to that does all this shit? Like, these people suck if they're out there. I can't relate to any of these.
It's probably her, and she's like, it's like a form of therapy. She's like getting it out, like all the bad things about her, you know?
Yeah, she's talking about herself this whole time. All right. So think that's a no for both of us on that last. So now we're on the very last one, Jack, if you want to top us off here.
Okay. Tread lightly. Okay, yeah, this Reddit post really just treaded lightly. That's for sure. Okay. Tread lightly and be mindful of your impact. At very worst, any place you visit should be no worse for your visit than it was before. I'm just going to ignore that little piece. You are in a position to leave destinations better off than they were before your arrival. Do that. Okay. Well, look, I hate to say this, but I don't want to one up anyone on the pod or anyone listening, but I am an Eagle Scout, and I learned about this, right? Like where you go camping and you got to make sure you clean up your trash. Maybe plant an orchid tree where the fire was. Like there are certain things that you can do to leave things better off. But if we're talking about a giant dirty city, there's not a lot you're gonna do. Just pay your tab, clean up after yourself, and be really nice. Right.
Leave no trace is what they taught us in Boy Scouts, Jack. Leave no trace. I was a Boy Scout as well. I didn't make it to Eagle Scouts. I think I made it to first class.
It's okay. I didn't want to.
No,
I didn't want to. I wasn't. You're an Eagle Scout in my book.
It's a flex. Like I'm not gonna lie. What was your Eagle Scout project that you did, Jack?
We there's like a children's ward of a particular hospital, and we sort of painted, made like murals on the walls for the kids.
That's adorable. Thank you for your service.
Yep. Shout out.
Anyway, yeah, this one's obvious. I mean, yeah, like you said, we learned this in Boy Scout. This is just common courtesy. This doesn't have to do with nomading. Like, I certainly don't go to places and throw trash around. Like, this is just like being a normal member of society. Like, yeah, don't litter and like be an asshole. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, please actually do this also when you're in America too.
Yeah, you should do it everywhere. But yeah, I certainly, like we said this whole episode, like I try to be as respectful as possible. I know this isn't my home, like whether I'm staying in Airbnb or just exploring a city, I'm gonna at least leave it no worse than it was before. I guess I don't make a big effort to make it better than before I arrived. Like I'm not out here, volunteering at a soup kitchen when I'm in these countries. Although I've thought about that, but sometimes I will see other people's trash and I pick it up if I'm in like a nice park or something and I'm like, well, this looks shitty. So I guess I do that to make things better.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've been the bad guy here. Look, I've puked in a bar bathroom. I've gone a little too hard on the streets of Thailand. Like, what can I say? Like, but overall, like, I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
And I have good intentions.
I've definitely peed in places that maybe I shouldn't have peed, but does pee really affect things that much? I don't know. We're not scientists.
Yeah. I don't want to comment on science like a lot of people love to these days, but I don't think there's anything wrong with peeing outside. I mean, live free.
Yeah. God gave me a penis for a reason, so I can pee wherever I want.
It is one of the coolest things ever to be able to use your penis and pee in like a random
Dude.
spot.
Oh
Like,
yeah, sometimes like an elevated, like off of a bridge, and you can just see it drop down for like hundreds of feet. That's always fun.
yeah. Or like you got no other options. You gotta pee. In that moment is really nice. Yeah.
Now,
Super
okay, so
relatable stuff today on the pod.
the person in so that's it. That their whole post ends here. So they had those 10 irritating things that nomads do, and then they end it with saying, "That's all for now. I dare you to come at me and try to kill me." Period. That's it.
Damn.
So
Damn. I hope this lady's okay. I hope she's found peace within herself because something's wrong.
yeah, I hope they're okay. I hope they kind of use this as a reason to vent and kind of get this off their chest. But yeah, we can't relate to many of these. Hopefully, most nomads out there are not like this, because then yeah, that would be shitty, and I could see how nomads can get a bad reputation. But we're here to improve that reputation and make sure that people love us, because nomads are here to stay with remote work and everything that's going on. I don't think it's going to stop. If anything, there's going to be more nomads for the years to come.
Well, Steve, it's a little weird to say nomads are here to stay
Yeah,
when they're nomadic,
true.
but I get what you're.
Stay on Earth, I guess.
Well, for now.
This comment says, here's one: obnoxious virtue signaling about how all the things that other people do irritate you to demonstrate your own moral superiority. Nice. Anyway.
Okay, well, I'm over it. I'm over this chick.
Yeah, this is a good episode, though. This was fun. Next week, we'll be highlighting Guatemala. Jack and I have both been there. I'm here now. We'll also have a special guest next week who's also familiar with Guatemala. So we'll get that going. It'll be our first ever female guest, so that's exciting.
That is awesome. I'm excited. It's going to be a good episode.
All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you don't run into any nomads who are trying to sell you a timeshare or pee on you or anything like that. Hope you have a great day and great week.
And enjoy. Yeah. Take a weird trip.